you would literally have over $2 million. I don't know, to me that seems like a pretty good bargain. To be completely honest, I really wish that I knew these 7 money habits when I was 18 years old, graduating high school, starting to enter the real world, working for the first time, and actually starting to make money. Unfortunately, I really just didn't know these money habits, or maybe I did, but I just didn't fully understand the importance of them. But once I actually started implementing these habits, you guys, my life has completely changed. I have been able to do so many amazing things, like buy this really nice house, build a multiple 6-figure net worth, create multiple income streams, and set my husband and I both up to retire early. For me, the ultimate goal is to be completely financially free. And these 7 habits are things that I've learned over the years that have really helped me get to where I am today. They are things that I do on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis to make sure that I'm really setting myself up for a rich and successful life. And, hopefully to retire early as well. So with that, habit number 1 is setting goals. And I think that this is true not only for my finances, but also for my life in general. I set goals on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And if you guys have seen my monthly reset videos, you know that I do this. It's true. I do this every single month. For me, my goals can look really long term. For example, I really want to buy a lake house in North Idaho, or they can look really short term. Things like I want to save an extra $500 this month. So there's a few reasons why setting goals is important to becoming financially free. First of all, having goals helps you focus on achieving what you want and figuring out what you need to do in order to get there. For example, let's say that you know that you want to save an extra $6,000 in one, calendar year. That means that you would need to essentially put $500 towards that each month. So by setting a goal, you're able to kind of break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces. Second of all, I think setting goals actually really motivates you to achieve them. I could be very ambiguous and be like, I just want to get rich, or I could be really specific and say, I want this specific lake house in North Idaho and know exactly how much it costs. I am going to be way more emotionally attached to that goal. A cabin in North Idaho, the lake up there is my happy place. It brings me joy, it brings me comfort, and I'm way more emotionally attached to achieving that thing versus just saying like, I want to be rich. And the third reason that I think setting goals is really important to being financially free is the fact that in both of these examples, like, you have to be disciplined in order to get there. If you are super focused on your goal, you have those numbers in your mind, you are going to have to make conscious decisions day after day, which requires discipline. Keeping your end goals in mind every day, week, or month will help inform kind of your spending decisions and your saving decisions. So those are a few reasons why setting goals has really helped me become financially free. All right, habit number 2 is to basically start building various income streams. I really cannot emphasize enough how important it is to start working on your various income streams today. I think one of the most important reasons why creating multiple income streams is so important is because honestly, relying on one single source of income can be pretty risky. If that source of income is disrupted for any reason, such as, let's say, a job loss, hi, me, an economic downturn, hello, the entire economy right now, or, maybe like just some industry shifts and changes, tech industry, can you hear me? If any of those things happen, you might find yourself in a little bit of financial distress. By creating multiple income streams for yourself, you are really able to diversify your income, which can really just help you almost provide like a safety net for your finances. I have actually created several video topics on side hustle ideas, various income streams and such, so I will actually link my side hustles video up above. But if you can just start getting into the habit of thinking of ways to create other sources of income, that will really set you up for success in the long run. But just to give you guys one example, I know a lot of people have had success with Etsy, and it's actually something that I have messed with myself as well. Because I have messed around with Etsy a little bit, I do actually know firsthand that it can be really tough to stand out and actually make progress on Etsy, showing up on the first page of search results and all of that. But I don't know if you knew this, there's actually quite a few tools out there that you can use to actually help grow your Etsy shop as a side hustle. Everbee is a powerful product research tool designed for Etsy sellers. The software provides valuable data such as product analytics, shop analyzer, keyword research, and more. One of the key features of Everbee is the product analytics tool. With this feature, you can track important metrics such as sales and revenue, or if you aren't quite sure where to start on Etsy, but you know that you do want to create a shop, this tool can also help you find products that are in demand to help you get your shop started. This feature is incredibly insightful and helps simplify the data analysis process, but there are tons of other features that Everbee offers. One of the coolest features about Everbee, in my opinion, is the listing rank tracker. From my experience selling some products on Etsy, I know one of the hardest parts about getting momentum on Etsy is showing up in search. You can have a really stellar product, but if it's showing up on the 10th page of a search result, people are probably not really going to buy your product. Everbee's listing rank tracker is a new feature to the software that allows you to monitor the rankings of your product listings for specific keywords over time. You can track up to 100 listings, and the tool will show you where the keyword for the listing is ranked on Etsy. The tool also tells you which keywords are performing well and which ones aren't. I think this is such a cool feature because it can really help you save the constant head spinning for creating your listings, trying to optimize your listings, and more, hopefully resulting in higher sales. Which, let's be honest, that's the real ultimate goal here. Everbee has other cool features to explore, such as Keyword Research Suite, Shop Analyzer, Profitability Calculator, and more. I really think this is a great tool to leverage if you're trying to make it with Etsy as a side hustle. And best of all, it's super easy to get started. All you need to do is create an account and add the Chrome extension. Everbee has actually provided me with a discount link for you guys, and I will provide that down in the description box as well as in the comments of this video. I highly recommend checking them out if you guys are even considering starting an Etsy shop, or if you have an Etsy shop and you're kind of struggling to get it going. Definitely do check them out. I think it's definitely a really cool tool and something that can really help take your side hustle to the next level. And I just wanted to say thank you again to Everbee for sponsoring today's video. Of course, aside from Etsy, there's tons of other ways out there that you can start generating income. The other main reason I think that building multiple income streams is so important to becoming financially free is because in order to retire early, you are going to have kind of income streams still flowing in while you're not working, also known as passive income. This is something that I really wish that I knew earlier in life. If I was able to start investing in rental properties at a young age, think of how big a portfolio you could have over several years of growing your rental property portfolio. Realistically, building various income streams does take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And a lot of times I just think about, how much farther, how much more progress I could have now if I had started 10 years ago. So yeah, sorry, I think that was a really long one, but all of that to say, get in the habit of thinking about ways to create additional income for yourself so you never are 100% dependent on one source of income stream again. All right, you guys, habit number 3 is actually really similar to habit number 2, but this habit is to invest. God, you guys, I really wish I just knew this one when I was like 10 years old. That may not be super realistic. Can't really get investing when you're 10, but I wish I knew when I was 18 years old. If I had just put $100 away every single month over the span of the last 12 years, now I'm 30. Do you have any idea how much money I would have from not really taking that much effort of saving? Well, let's calculate it. According to Investopedia, the S&P 500 has had an average return of about 11.88% per year since its inception in 1957. Now, does this mean that it grows 12% every single year? No, but what it does mean is some years you might grow 30% or 40%, other years you might only grow 1% or 2%, and some years might honestly be negative. Yes, there might be negative years where your money actually goes down in value, but then it goes way up the next year. So all of that coming out to kind of on average almost 12%, which is actually pretty good because I have never heard of a savings account that generates a 12% yearly return. So let's calculate it. And also, mind you, this is a very simplified version of kind of how to calculate this, but this is really just to show you guys an example and a demonstration of the potential upside here. So $100 per month, let's say I do that every single month for 12 months, and then we have about a 12% growth on that savings. Now the stock market snowballs and snowballs. Every single month we keep putting $100 in the stock market. Every single year we're getting about a 12% return. At the end of 12 years, I would have just about $32,000, which is kind of crazy to think about because if you had just put it in a savings account, it would only be about $14,000. And now let's say hypothetically I just had a little bit of extra income and I was able to do like $200 a month for the last 12 years. I would have over $64,000 just kind of saved up. Really, $200 a month is not that much money to be putting away every single month. Honestly, the beauty of the stock market is that it is compound interest, which means the little bit of money you add every single month snowballs and snowballs and becomes worth more and more over time. And hopefully by doing that, it will actually give you a nice little nest egg so that you can retire early. And if you're feeling like, well, dang, I'm already 30 years old like me and I haven't started investing yet. I should have started 10 years ago, so there's no point in starting now. Well, that's not true. You should start today. And if you start investing, let's say like $400 a month, I know that that might be really high for some people, but you can figure out what's realistic for you. But let's just say $400 a month from now, every single month until you are 50 years old, you will have built a nice little nest egg of almost $400,000. And let's say you keep doing this until the day you retire at 65, you would literally have over $2 million just from putting $400 a month into the stock market every single month. I don't know. To me, that seems like a pretty good bargain. Anyways, that's enough talk about investing in the stock markets. Let me know though if you guys would be interested in me making a whole like dedicated video on how to get started investing in the stock market. I do use Robinhood for my personal investment account, and I do have a referral link with them. So if you guys are interested in signing up for Robinhood to get started in the stock market, I have included a link to them down in my description box as well. But like I was just saying, you might not feel like you even have any extra income to start putting into the stock market. $400, I use that number, that might sound like a lot. Well, that is where habit number 4 comes in. So habit number 4 is to reverse budget. So what does reverse budgeting even really mean? Basically what it is taking the things like saving and investing and doing those things first, and then determining your budget after you've already like saved and invested. A lot of people, what they like to do is they get their paycheck, then they pay their bills, then whatever's left over is for spending, and then like whatever is left over at the end of that, at the end of the month, maybe it's like $100 or whatever, then that maybe goes into savings. By switching that around and learning how to reverse budget, prioritizing my savings and investing first, I actually have really been able to build a really nice nest egg on my investment portfolio as well as my savings and emergency savings accounts. So for example, in the first habit I talked about, let's say you want to save an extra $6,000 a year, and in order to do that, you are going to need to put $500 a month into your savings account. So let's say that your monthly income after taxes is about $5,000. The absolute first thing that you do when you get paid is you transfer money to savings. You take that $500 from your paycheck and it goes directly into savings. You don't see it again and you don't touch it. Then you allocate the remaining, $4,500 to bills, and whatever is left over from that becomes your spending money. If you only have $100 left over after your savings and your bills, then that's all you get for spending. And the same process is how you should think about your investing as well. This is so important because it really just emphasizes putting your goals first. And by doing that, you are being actually very proactive in achieving them. So work backwards to kind of develop your budget. Figure out based on your income how much you want to start putting into your savings and investment account, then calculate your expenses and figure out what is left after that to figure out how much you're allowed to be spending on fun things. And honestly, this is a really good time to identify areas where you might be spending too much, like going out to eat or on clothes or things like that. Of course, if you need help, there's tons of tools out there. Things like Mint and Rocket Money are really good ones to kind of help you identify your budget. But the most important thing on this habit is to just get in the habit of automatically sending money to your savings account and to your investment account the second you get paid. All right, habit number 5 is to pay off all of your debts as soon as possible. This one, you guys, I had to learn this the hard way. I think I was like 21 years old, fresh out of college, got my first real job, and I was on a flight and I decided to sign up for the Alaska card because I got so many like bonus miles by signing up on the flight. Well, that was not the greatest decision. I really was not in a place to be able to pay off a credit card each month. I was making like $12 an hour or something like that, and it quickly became a bad habit of me spending more than I was making. And then every single month the interest was accruing because I wasn't able to pay it off completely each month, and all of a sudden I was maxed out on my credit card. Thank God it was only like a $3,000 credit card limit, but once I realized how difficult it would be for me to pay off that $3,000 when I was only making like, $1,800 a month, and then I also had expenses on top of that, like it became almost drowning. At the time, like that was so much money to me that I couldn't pay off, and it was just accruing and accruing interest every single month. I really had to dig myself out of that hole, which turned into me only using cash to pay for things, chipping away at the credit card debt, and eventually, thank God, I got a higher paying job and was able to really pay it off. But once I was able to pay it off, I really learned my lesson that I could not ever go back to a point where I'm not paying off my credit card every single month. Having debt is so incredibly stressful. Take it from me, I know. And not only that, but by having debt and having to pay things off like your credit card, you're not able to do the things we just talked about, like saving and investing. If you have any high interest debt, pay them off. The reality is, I know most of us have debt, and that's okay. Not all debt is bad. I still have my student loans. We obviously took out a loan on the house. Chris and I actually pay an extra $500 a month on our home loan every single month so that we actually have money going towards our principal rather than going just towards our interest. So obviously, like with the house and my student loans, like those are not inherently bad things. Loans and debt help you build credit and help set you up for success in the long run, but get in the habit of overpaying on fixed loans and paying off credit cards every single month. And actually, this topic of being in debt brings me to my next habit, which might sound a little bit contradictory to what we were just talking about. But this habit is something that I've really only started doing over these last couple of years. course, because I was able to get my credit card debt under control. But this habit is to use credit cards to your advantage, use them for points, for miles, and things like that. Okay, like I said, I know that this sounds super contradictory to the last one, but hear me out. If you're using credit cards to your advantage, they actually provide a ton of benefits. Chris and I have one that gets you a ton of miles and points for travel because we both really love traveling. We want to travel as much as we can. There's other credit cards out there that have other benefits like cash back, rewards, fuel points, and things like that. And if you're able to pay it off every single month, you're actually getting things for free. That is really just setting you up for a wealthier life. So we put all of our essentials on our credit card, things that we were gonna buy anyway, things like groceries, gas, put like our water bill, anything like that that we were gonna pay out of our debit card, we just use our credit card instead. And then by the end of the month, we just transfer over the money we would have spent on groceries, gas, water bill, other expenses, and put it on our credit card. Can't emphasize it enough. Do not spend more on your credit card than you are making in a single month. Do not do it. Do not, do not, do not. By leveraging credit cards, Chris and I are able to travel more and honestly live a little bit more of like a free lifestyle, which is really cool. All right, and the final habit that I have for you guys, habit number 7, is to educate yourself. This is something that I really started getting into a couple of years ago as I started getting more mature in my career, I would say. And I really wanted to understand a little bit better about investing, how to build a nice savings account, things like that. And in order to learn those things, I started reading books about it. Of course, there's tons of other ways out there to learn about, you know, investing, finance, and all that. Listen to podcasts, you could watch YouTube channels. But personally for me, I love reading books. So I've just started educating myself through reading. I think one of the most important things that I learned is I always thought that people who have, you know, a stock market account, those are like rich people. Like that's something that like rich people have. It's not something that like everyday people have. Why I thought that, I do not know. But by reading all of these books, I learned so many things, from the basics of how to budget, how to save money, to some of the more complicated things like what is a Roth IRA, or how to get into things like options trading. There's a huge spectrum of information out there, but it wasn't until I got into the habit of taking the education and the learning into my own hands that I was actually really able to become financially free. I would say like my top 3 favorite books: Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This book like literally changed my life. It talks about how to make your money work for you versus only working for your money. That was just like a click moment for me. So I highly recommend that book. I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. That one is really like practical steps of things that you can do to get out of debt, create credit for yourself, like build a savings account and things like that, like very realistic, logical steps that you can actually take. The other one that really changed my mindset and everything on money and investing and saving is You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. I have reread that book so many times, but it's really more about you can go do these things. It's not just for rich people. It's for everyday people like me and you that want to set ourselves up for success in the future. So I really do think that educating yourself, taking the time to learn, is the best way that you're going to set yourself up for success when it comes to being able to be financially free. But that's it, you guys. Those 7 habits have truly changed my life. Like I said, they've helped me build a multiple 6-figure net worth. They've helped me decide to start side hustles. They've really helped me focus on putting, you know, my savings first, my investing portfolio first, and setting tangible, realistic goals. These habits have just set me up for such a more successful life. So I hope that you guys found these habits helpful. If you have more questions or want me to elaborate on any of the parts, let me know. Yeah, if you guys liked this video and you like hearing about habits, money, savings, being a healthy, wealthy girly, hit that thumbs up button because it will help me know to make more videos like this. But that's it, you guys. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will catch up with you next time.